Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City in the state of Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up today, we're going to be talking about the Mormon scripture that they've... they're not distant. What are they doing? They're redefining what it is.
They're moving the goalposts.
The Book of Abraham. Yeah.
They're changing the rules.
They're cheating is what they're doing.
They are cheating.
Mid-game, they're changing the rules.
Yeah. You and I were going to kind of back off the Mormon thing for a while because it's like we've been
talking
hitting
about
it
it
pretty
so much, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
They just got
You know?
shit going on.
They won't shut up.
Well,
They won't stop doing things. So what are we supposed? What is a podcast in Salt Lake City supposed to do?
Yeah. And yeah, if you guys are sick of it, you can feel free to let us know.
Tell us.
We would like to hear your feedback.
Because we're sick of it.
Oh, I'm not sick of
We
it.
want to stop talking about this.
I find it delightful. I think the Mormons are one of the weirdest, cool, funnest groups to deal with. I just think every time I see something from them, I'm just like, you guys have gone crazy. Just when because they're the most boring humans on the planet, and then they just go a little loco. It's fun. Well, shall I tell you a story?
Please do.
Now, we talked about the whole Hobby Lobby decision that the Supreme
Hobby
Court came to recently.
Okay. Yes.
Disappointing. It was a disappointing.
It was. I was sorely disappointed.
Yeah. Well, so there was a secondary thing that happened. It sort of slid in under the radar, where there was an emergency request from Wheaton College to because here's the deal. With Obamacare, Obama came up with a workaround so that for the mandate, for the contraception mandate.
Oh yeah.
And that was that if the company would sign essentially a letter that just says, it's a form that says that we have a religious objection to this.
Oh,
This is their accommodation. If you signed a form certifying your objection, then the insurer will provide basically the coverage directly to the person, to the woman, rather than to the company. So the company doesn't pay for it.
Wow.
And it goes just sort of directly to the woman.
Oh, that's okay. So okay.
Now, what's
What
completely
is the okay?
wacky about this? Because that seems like it's like, okay, fine.
And they created a form for this.
Yeah.
Signed and notarized type thing.
You just sign it. You just sign it as a company, and then you're on board. And it's just saying that you have this religious objection. Here's the deal: a whole shit ton of companies of religious nonprofits. This isn't specifically nonprofits. A whole shit ton of them have sued, claiming that signing the opt-out form for someone to get contraception violates their religious liberty.
So they didn't take the bone.
Signing...
They were thrown a bone.
No.
They were given a way out.
Right.
And now they have to sign.
And now they're like, hey.
They resent having to sign to say...
Us having to say out loud that we admit to this.
How?
I don't know. It's fascinating. An attorney for the plaintiffs repeatedly referred to it as permission slip for abortion. Even though it doesn't actually cover abortion. It does not cover abortion. I think they want to be able to stop their employees from getting contraception.
Of any kind. You are not allowed, human being.
Yes. You work for us. You can't have contraception. You can't have that.
How dare you? Do you know who we are?
Obama's
who you work for?
Obama's like, you guys don't have to pay for it. No! We don't want them to have it. You may not. No, they can have it. They're paying for it. You're not paying for it. I know. I hate it. I won't have it. So this college, Wheaton College, which is an evangelical college in Illinois,
founded by Will Wheaton.
Founded by Will Wheaton of Star Trek.
That's
Next
what he did
Generation
with his Star Trek Millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This college filed for an emergency request so that they can stop paying for the thing anyway, the contraception anyway, but like sort of a stay until the decision comes through, and the court granted it.
Oh my God.
So Sonia Sotomayor wrote a pretty seething dissent on that one. This isn't the dissent for the Hobby Lobby case. This is the dissent for this little thing. But she basically said, the quote is, one of the quotes says, "Those who are bound by our decisions usually believe they can take us at our word. Not so today." Apparently, because what happened, Justice Samuel Alito justified some of his Hobby Lobby decision using this accommodation clause, saying, if there's these accommodations, and then of course our Hobby Lobby decision is in line with actions that the Obama administration has already been taking or whatever. But Sotomayor threw that right back at him and just basically said that what it's doing is she this is a great quote. She said, "Let me be absolutely clear. I do not doubt that Wheaton genuinely believes that signing the self-certification form is contrary to its religious beliefs. But thinking one's religious beliefs are substantially burdened does not make it so."
Well, the problem is that it's the mark of the beast. That form. That's what they're not telling you.
I don't know how you can judge that until we've heard something later in the show. Yeah.
Damn.
She added to that quote, "Not every sincerely felt burden is a substantial one, and it's for the courts, not the litigants, to identify which are."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right.
But it still went through. The only signatories to her dissent were the other ladies on the court. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Elena Kagan. Justice Stephen Breyer, who dissented with them in the Hobby Lobby case, did not sign that dissent.
Wow. Interesting.
Anyway.
All right.
We should just have a regular segment called Our Fucked Up Supreme Court.
No kidding. Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Oh boy. I would like to tell the story of your favorite musician, your favorite music act.
My favorite music act? The Jackson 5?
Close.
Who is my favorite music act?
Katy Perry.
Ooh. She is quite bubbly and boisterous.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I know very little about her.
I knew very little about her as well. I'll be totally honest here. I tried to brush up on her music last night so that I could pull out some lyrics and kind of, hey, I know Katy Perry. I don't know Katy Perry, and so this was actually kind of a hard one for me, but I like it.
You could see her roar.
Yeah, well, that's the big one lately. Another big one lately is one called Dark Horse.
Oh.
And she's being sued, in fact, by some Christian rappers who claim that she stole the song. That it replicated their 2008 song "Joyful Noise." Excuse me. And just for the sake of, I'm just going to pick random spots in these songs, just so you can get a sense of it.
Sure.
Okay, so this is the Katy Perry, right? And I'm going to go about just as far into this Joyful Noise song.
Okay.
Quite a few years, victory in faith, but I failed in my fears. I heard a lot of words that have tickled many ears. That's why I praise God for the word.
Do you hear it? Do you hear the similarities?
Is it about the beat?
There's a similar beat, but it's the
beepy beepy.
thingy that's going on, the beep 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 thing.
Wow.
And they're like, she stole that. So they're going after her because they've got,
because they've got nothing going for them, and she has
everything
bazillions of
going
dollars
for her. Yeah. They are also upset that the song has been sullied. Their song has been sullied by witchcraft, paganism, black magic, and Illuminati imagery in the music video. The music video, it has kind of this Egyptian, Katy Perry's has sort of this Egyptian, well, not sort of, a very Egyptian thing going on.
Oh.
And so, yeah, she has, not only did she steal from them, but she turned it into a work of the devil.
Yeah, I mean, you start doing some Egyptian-y stuff. There's nothing about Egypt in the Bible. So,
oh dear God, no. Those Egyptians, never.
Because they were the bad guys. If I recall my Moses right, the Egyptians were the bad guys.
Usually.
Yeah. So yeah, if she's doing something Egyptian-y, obviously. Oh yeah, Katy Perry, Dark Horse, featuring Juicy J. In case you're wondering.
Yeah.
I think we're all pretty excited that Juicy J made it onto the scene.
Personally, I would not have listened to the song had Juicy J not been involved.
No, Juicy J is what makes the song.
Thank you, Dan.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, so that's happening.
There you go. That wicked Katy Perry.
She's evil. Sorcery.
And she's
Christians are so quick to see that stuff before anybody else really sees it.
Well, yeah,
they just spot it.
Yeah,
they're good at it.
You and I, Frank, we're not looking correctly.
At
the world.
No.
This world is out to get us, Frank. It is out to get us.
You have to be careful.
Satan is around every turn.
I've been meaning to point that thing out. That thing is evil.
Oh yeah, we got a ram's head, a fake ram's head on the wall over here. Yeah, that's got to be Satan.
And your wife put that up.
Oh my God,
Dan.
I have to stone my wife. She has to be stoned to death, I think. Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, and to be honest, you just need a certain level of certainty too. Like I think is fine.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm the
have...
man. I can determine these things.
Yeah. That's how you felt in the moment. She needed to die.
The woman needed stoning. Yeah. What can I do? It's not my. These aren't my rules, people. These are
they're Katy Perry's rules.
These are Katy Perry's rules.
What?
I don't think so.
Apparently, she's very popular. I didn't really.
Oh yeah.
She's really popular.
They love her.
I'm so not into pop music.
Me neither. My little niece, who's adorable, she loves that song "Roar," and so you play that, and she just sings along and dances, and that's how I know that.
I have a feeling she's a different age than my niece who loves Katy Perry.
Yes. My niece who loves Katy Perry is 4.
Mine's 19.
Right.
But that's still like she appreciates her for different reasons.
Right. The witchcraft is what
clearly.
You like her for the fun like pop tunes.
Right.
When you're 4. When you're 18, you grow up and you're able to appreciate the finer things like the witchcraft and the sorcery and
they're an acquired taste.
The devil worship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm going to take us to New Jersey, Dateline, New Jersey, Newark specifically. Now, New Jersey, I don't know if you know this, is the most Catholic of our states.
Is it?
It is.
Wow. Okay. All right. I did not know that.
Well, that's why we're here to educate
each other.
So each other. That's right. Because every episode we don't know what the fuck the other person's gonna say. So
that's true. Yeah.
There you go. So in New Jersey, Catholic schools have been a big deal for a long time. However, in the last 20 some odd years, enrollment in Catholic schools has gone down significantly nationwide.
Really?
Yeah, in the last 40 years, really. since the 60s. According to data from the National Catholic Education Association, which is based in D.C., in the 60s, there were more than 5.2 million children enrolled in almost 13,000 Catholic schools.
Wow.
Today, there are fewer than 2 million in fewer than 6,600 schools. So, they're closing schools by the handful, these Catholics.
My goodness.
Long gone are the days when you could just gleefully throw your kid in with a nun and hope for the best. The getting your knuckles wrapped with a ruler seems to be going the way of the dodo.
Oh, well, see, our local Catholic schools. I mean, I knew a few kids that went to, like Judge, and I don't think there's a priest or a nun near that thing anymore. It's just owned by the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And they have to go to chapel, but that's like it.
Right.
So,
I know that they do it.
It's considered one of the best high schools in the state.
Right, but even their enrollment, I think, is struggling.
You think so?
I think so.
I think they don't get a lot of Catholics anymore. I think they just get people who don't want their kids in the public schools.
Right. It is. Yeah. It's one of the good private school options in Salt Lake. Yeah. In the Archdiocese of Newark, which is the largest archdiocese of New Jersey, they closed 4 of their 70 elementary schools this year. That's this year alone. They closed the 4 schools closed were not financially sound and could not keep their enrollment up.
No way.
They closed 6 schools in 2012, 6 in 2010, and 3 in 2009. They're failing our kids, or rather,
they're failing their kids.
Their
kids really, truly. Their parents are failing.
Well,
the parents within their community are failing them.
I'll tell you what it says. It says that they're not educating the kids well enough, because if these kids were going off, succeeding, and then endowing the school that they came from with money, they would be fine. But that doesn't seem to be happening. Because, a school with a big endowment would draw kids. It would have better education.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're not putting their money back into the schools.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. New Jersey has the second highest Catholic population in the country.
Can I guess the highest?
I don't have it in front of me. So
population. Total population?
Yes.
Oh, see, then, okay. I was thinking percentage.
Well, it is the percentage. Do you want to guess what the percentage of Catholics in New Jersey is?
I'm going to say it's around 50.
It's 44%.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's high.
That's as many Catholics. Well, no.
Where were you going to go for number 1? Massachusetts?
Oh, I was thinking Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Massachusetts. Boston's a pretty Catholic town.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. Anyway, there you go.
Look it up, Dan. I'm about to move on to a story. Look it up.
Okay.
Find out the information.
Okay, we'll find it out.
Interrupt me if you have to.
Okay.
All right. This just touches me so closely, Dan, this story. Sorry, people. Every year, actually multiple times a year, but it just happened that this group, the Rainbow Family, just had an annual event here in Utah, up in our lovely mountains. 8,000 people.
I heard about these guys.
And by people, I mean dirty hippies.
Dirty hippies.
Camped up in the Hayuentas.
Those are mountains.
Yes,
for the uninitiated. And
where there was no campsites, no improved campgrounds or anything like that. Apparently, this is not the first time that they've hit the Uinta National Forest. I believe this one has turned into a fully annual event where about 8,000 people show up every year just to this one,
but not to this location. It's a moving thing.
Okay,
it happens in different places every year.
Because that's what I was trying to gather from the story, which it wasn't clear. But they have been at this location before.
Okay.
In fact, it was just a couple of years ago because I remember reading about it when it did happen. But anyway, so they have this annual event on July 4th.
Right.
And you get dirty hippies from all over the country.
Well, it's surrounding July 4th. It actually is much
well, there's
longer
2
than
weeks.
That. Right.
It's a 2-week camp out.
Right.
Not unlike a sort of a Burning Man type event, except no art, not fun, and not they frown upon alcohol.
It's just dirty hippies. Wait, they frown upon alcohol?
They frown upon alcohol. So it's like they are there to pray for peace and for the earth.
So they say. That's not what the article that I read about them said.
What?
The Heber jail system has filled up since they arrived because they've just been unruly and they've been stealing shit and they've been
This is the only event that apparently they're on good terms with the National Forest Service. Is this one that they've done in the Uintas? For whatever reason, they've required them when they've done it here to actually do real reclamation work when they're done. Most places they're pretty good at cleaning up their trash, but that's about it.
Right.
The place has been trampled through,
right,
with hippies. But nonetheless, some grass is going to get trampled with all the praying and dancing.
Sure,
it's going to happen.
And you might lose a woodland creature or two to suicide because of the drum circles. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, if I were camping nearby, that was
Did you hear that there were that the LDS Church canceled 2 different girls' camps?
Oh,
because
really?
They were close. They were in proximity to this was happening.
That was not mentioned at all in this. This is the Salt Lake Tribune too.
Yeah.
Why do they not?
I don't know.
Anyways, so there is a list of 136 citations, 195 warnings, and 225 other incidents where there was sort of they were just involved in some kind of incident. It doesn't really say. But anyways, there were 2 deaths this year.
Oh, no.
Timothy R. Gillespie of Texas, and he was found dead in his tent.
Oh, dear.
And Susan Wilkinson of New Hampshire died while sleeping outdoors.
Huh.
I don't know what would have happened with that.
Both of those sound like drug overdoses to me.
Yeah. It is quite possible that this is a druggy thing.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't like alcohol. That was one of the things that I found on.
Hey, man.
I think that was
you
their
need to do something that's more
page.
natural, man. Maybe smoke some weed or do some mushrooms. That's the earth providing for us.
Natural. Nature only gives us good things.
Oh,
Dan.
and the only real comparison with this and Burning Man is that everybody's naked. It's not really at all like Burning Man, except that there's a whole bunch of naked hippies.
There's a whole bunch of people. That's a comparison.
And they just sort of convene on a place. Yeah, I guess.
And they're on federal land, and they have to deal with. So here's actual a contrast thing with Burning Man that's really, really important, which is Burning Man actually pays for a permit to be there.
Right.
These
and they
folks
pay through the nose.
$750,000 is what they pay for their permit. These folks would have to buy a similar permit, probably in the neighborhood of $750,000. They do not, and they refuse to, because it's open to the public for free. They say so. Why would you have to charge us?
Right.
And they also say that they have First Amendment rights to convene, to gather, to
yes.
And so they're like, we're just doing this on federal land, and the Forestry Service is like,
well, there you go.
And so, but it was funny reading this article. Most of the Forestry Service was putting a positive spin on it, which I don't know why they would if it was just a complete hassle for them.
Right.
They were saying that with the cleanup, the stuff grows back. The stuff that gets trampled, give it a good rain or two, it grows back.
Yeah.
So it's just forest.
Yep. It's forest. It's there for us to use.
The reason I bring them up, and this is important to tie it into the whole atheist thing, is that they are there to pray for the earth.
For the earth.
Yeah.
Mother Gaia.
Absolutely.
The earth that they're trampling.
Absolutely.
Let us pray for you.
It's beautiful, don't you think? Praying for the earth.
It's cute.
I just love...
It's kind of adorable.
And are they...
I was tempted to go out and just check it out. Just go out there and just wander around and look at people. Maybe bring some popcorn. Just watch everybody like it's a show.
I bet they love that.
I'll bet they do.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, pray for the earth for me. I want to see. Go. Go. Why don't you do it? Pray for the earth.
Well, when I was doing a little more research on them, I found some stuff about them, more their sort of international stuff. And they had a picture of an event that took place in like Bosnia or someplace.
Okay.
Right? And there was a teepee.
Of course there was.
A big, giant Native American teepee.
Right.
In Bosnia.
Because Bosnia.
Because that makes what sense?
This
is hippie. This isn't about like
no.
It's just an excuse for hippies to get together.
Yeah,
and the pictures of them I find obnoxious as hell because they're all like they've all got that ridiculous hippie smile.
Let me see.
Okay, let me
show me a picture.
Let me show you. This is always fun. See, look at her. Oh my God, look at her. She's so peaceful.
Does she know that it's like 90 degrees out? She doesn't have to wear a wool cap.
She was up in the mountains. That's her mugshot.
Oh,
look how dazed and confused she is.
Oh yeah, there's an old guy.
He's in pain. Yeah. He's an in pain hippie.
Hey, by the way, I do have the stats on the Catholic states if you want that.
Yeah.
So we were both wrong.
Oh.
Number 1 is Rhode Island.
Oh, most percentage-wise?
Yeah, most Catholic state.
What percentage?
54% Catholic up in Rhode Island.
Christ.
Yeah. Your Pennsylvania was actually number 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to know what the number 50 was? The least Catholic state?
Probably Utah.
That's what I would have guessed. It's a tie. It's a 4-way tie between Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas, all coming in at 8%.
Wow.
And then there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4-way tie for second place, or for second to last.
Right.
Coming in at 9%. That is Utah, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and West Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Don't go to the South, you Catholics.
No.
That's not for you.
Yeah, it's worse there for you than it is for us.
Right. Anywho. All right. Shall we move on?
Please.
There's a... Let's see. I already did that one and that one. Okay. In Indianapolis. No, not Indianapolis. No, Minnesota. That's where it was. Minnesota. There's a Catholic archbishop who was outspoken championing the effort to ban same-sex marriage in Minnesota.
Okay.
His name is John Nienstedt, Catholic archbishop. He is now facing a church investigation over allegations of inappropriate sexual relationships with other men.
Oh.
Who saw that coming? Raise your hand, everybody. To me, the big twist on this is they're adults.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Catholic priest who has sex with adult men.
That's so weird.
Including other priests and seminary students. He's apparently accused of threatening horrible backlash against anyone who tattles on him or against anyone who says no.
No.
Now, he of course, vigorously denies
anyone who
the
says
allegations.
no. So he just like sets his side on Friar Hunky over there, and he just goes after him.
Right. Apparently, that's the deal. He also
what a position to be in.
I love the fact that he vigorously denied the allegations, but he did stress that none of the claims of sexual misconduct involved minors. So I didn't do it, but even if I did, it wasn't kids. You guys.
It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
We were all mostly consenting adults.
Yeah. We were all adults.
We were
there may
all
not
adults.
have been all consent. There might have been some forced
Right.
rape-esque type activities.
Coercion. Who can
Coercion.
even define coercion at this point?
Especially with sex. I mean, isn't it seduction? I mean, what's the line between seduction and...
He didn't say no. He may not have said yes, but he didn't say no. What he said was, Father, please stop. Father, stop, Father.
Mm-hmm.
But he never said no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's horrid.
Yeah.
That's horrid, Dan. I actually was flipping through the 5 channels that we get because we gave up cable.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
And to be honest, now with the whole digital thing, everybody has like 3 channels on their channel. But anyways,
Right.
Stumbled upon Frontline
Okay.
the other night. I still don't know what the title of it was, but it was like Scandal at the Vatican.
Oh.
Like it was crazy. It was all just like the Vatican's dirtiest, darkest secrets. And it was like, this is salacious for Frontline. But they went in, they had a whole section of it that was on the homosexual like shit that goes down inside the Vatican, like in the Curia and whatnot.
You mean in the gay nightclub that is the Vatican?
Apparently, they had undercover footage of
what?
He wasn't a cardinal, but he was a high-ranking priest of some kind.
Sure.
And he had he brought 2 escorts, male escorts, down from Milan, and he had one on each arm, and he's walking around this party, right?
Oh
This like underground party, and there's like priests from the Vatican all over the place. Like all these are ranking type folk.
Right.
And they're just like, he's just parading around with these 2 boy toys.
Yeah.
And it's all just like crazy shit. The really creepy one was the hidden camera ended up capturing I think it was the reporter's roommate who's gay taking one of the priests home. Okay. And so he's there in the morning with his hidden camera still. The priest comes out, puts on his vestments, and for whatever reason starts to perform mass in their apartment. And it's like, what the fuck? You guys were just fucking in the other room.
Yeah, that's why you got to do a mass. It erases the thing. He has to do it every time he takes a cock. He has to do a new mass. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He's like, is there any water in here? I need to make some holy water. Let me just bless that shit real quick. I'm going to just sort of splash it liberally around the apartment.
Mm-hmm. No, he had the supplies.
Yeah.
He had the host. He had his vestments, for Christ's sake.
That's amazing.
While hooking up with someone.
I love that. I love that.
It was insane. And then it ended up moving on to like problems with the Vatican Bank. And I was like, what is this thing even about? And then it moved on to this and it moved on to that. And ultimately it was about all the reforms that Francis is facing and the uphill battle and what he really has to deal with.
What he walked into.
The level of corruption.
Right.
And so he's basically the thing that I took away from it was that he's on this like public relations rampage to build up so much support and so much goodwill from the public that he becomes almost untouchable as he tries to reform the Curia and the Vatican Bank.
You know, it seems it occurs to me that maybe Benedict actually left because he wasn't gay enough for the Vatican.
They painted it that Benedict left because he kind of tried to start some reforms and he went about it the wrong way. And the backlash that ended up happening was just too much for him to emotionally deal with.
He was just like, fuck you guys. I'm the goddamn Pope.
He was like, I'm old.
I can't take this. I'm leaving. You guys,
I'm old.
I'm done.
I dedicated my life to like this thing and I'm I'm out of here.
Nope, I just think he wasn't gay enough. I just think he was like, you guys, I am gay, but I am not this gay.
I can wear the shoes.
Yeah.
I can wear...
He's like, I'm
I
trying
can wear
here.
the dresses.
But,
I can...
7 guys in one night is too many. I just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, you're no a pope. A real pope could have taken 12 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That was my Guido Sarducci.
Oh, it was good.
It wasn't an impression so much as it was just an awful, awful voice. Anyway.
No, I believed it, Dan.
Good. I'm glad.
I really did.
What do you got?
Oh, that wasn't me?
That was me.
I went off on that tangent for that long.
Uh-huh.
And that was, oh my
That was my archbishop who my anti-gay archbishop who likes sex with men.
Oh my
story.
goodness. Okay. Then I have one left.
Yeah.
And this is the story of, well, it's kind of a warning, actually, that we should all heed. There is a Russian Orthodox priest,
okay,
who has identified a problem with with soccer.
No, the World Cup.
I know, and he's actually he was relieved by the fact that Russia, the Russian team, got out of the World Cup quickly.
Oh,
because apparently soccer for him is a homosexual abomination. Did you see this story at all, Dan?
I saw the headline and I
Do you
didn't
know
read it.
why, or to what he's attributing this claim to?
I'm gonna go with it's the short shorts.
You're not terribly far off.
What?
You're not terribly far off. It has to do with the shoes. They're too brightly colored for him. The pink and blue shoes. He says the players might as well wear women's panties or a bra. Is what he said.
That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life.
And he's also bothered by the, quote, unthinkable hairstyles of some of the players. He's bothered. He's really, really, really bothered by this.
We must not wear these shoes. These are girl shoes. These shoes for you should wear.
Well, what
shoes
kind of
for
shoes
boys.
was the Russian team wearing? If not the brightly colored Adidas and
neon green or neon yellow shoes.
That's the color that Nike, Puma, and Adidas. That's how they make their shoes, don't they?
Well,
I bought a pair of Nikes not too long ago. I couldn't find a pair that didn't have some neon color on them somewhere.
And I think the whole soccer thing is that they started wearing brightly colored shoes because they wanted people. I think it was better for TV. Like you could see, because everything happens at foot level. It was like you were better able to track what was happening because you're looking. Your eyes are drawn to their feet.
Huh?
That is not a fact. That is just me.
That's your conjecture.
Guessing.
Your guess.
Your
best guess, Dan.
I thought
about
I remember
something you know nothing about.
Something happened. I may have read a thing somewhere. Something.
My favorite guess are the uninformed guesses.
Those are the
ones that I really enjoy.
The best ones, when all is said and done, are those.
Yeah. So I just want to read a quote from him.
Oh, okay.
The liberal ideology of globalism clearly wants to oppose Christianity with football. I'm sure of it. Therefore, I am glad that the Russian players have failed, and by the grace of God, no longer participate in this homosexual abomination.
Oh, thank God. Thank God they got out in time.
Thank God. Our poor Russian boys.
Oh, my God. It's
not
horrifying.
a gay one amongst them. Thank God.
Oh.
They're all back.
Well, gays,
safe at home in Mother Russia, where there are no gay people.
Right.
Period. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah. I don't. Oh.
Mm-hmm. He's one that knows about fashion.
Frank just showed me a picture of this this pretty little princess here. He's got a big old beard.
Why do they do that? And he's parted down the middle.
Yeah.
Long hair.
I'm guessing he wears some really goofy hats too, because those Orthodox guys are tend to be.
That's why his hair is like that.
Oh, Russia.
It's ready for the hat.
Oh, Russia. Yeah.
So that's what I have about the World Cup.
Yes. Now that the U.S. has been eliminated, it's like, what do we even have to care about anymore?
What's the point? It's over, right? It ended already, right?
It's pretty much, yeah.
I thought it was over.
It's over as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah.
Except for all the gay little shoes.
You
get your gay shoes out.
I love gay shoes.
There should be gay shoe day.
I'm looking at these shoes. There's not a gay one in there.
There should be soccer shoe day at every gay bar in the country. Just wear your cleats. Wear your soccer shoes.
Oh, that's right. These would be cleats, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bummer.
Yep.
Those blue ones, I wouldn't mind those blue ones.
Oh, there's some nice salmon-y colored ones and some neon yellows.
Yeah. The yellows are good. Those blues are pretty awesome. I'd take green too.
Okay,
white's the one I wouldn't do. They're out there on grass.
Yeah, but
those white shoes are just going to get all.
These are world-class players. Up. They get a new pair of shoes for every game.
Don't you need to break in your shoes?
Not these shoes.
They come pre-broken in
because they're gay.
They have little Chinese children running around at the factory breaking in their shoes.
Exactly.
I highly doubt that.
Anyway, if you have any questions about the World Cup and you want us to answer them, that's just stupid. But if you have questions that we could answer, you can direct them to podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right, or go to the Facebook page where Mackenzie will show you many fun things. That's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And let me tell you, I've been doing a little shout out about Twitter.
Yeah.
And people have started doing some interacting.
Good.
It's kind of getting a little fun. I need to get into the whole swing of it.
Yeah,
I'm still a total Twitter novice, so everybody who's out there who is engaging with at TGIAtheist, please bear with me as I kind of get fully up to speed. But it's been fun.
Frank's not a pro tweeter just yet.
No, but there was somebody who they were waiting around to be the 300th follower. And they tweeted that they couldn't wait any longer, so they were like 298, and I congratulated them on being 298.
Yeah.
So, but that was that and some other post this week. I'm gonna try to make it more of a regular occurrence.
There you go. We'll see what we can get up there.
And of course, there is also the website thankgodimatheist.com.
Indeed,
and that's where you can go for blog posts and all sorts of
all kinds of
fun
stuff. Yeah,
you can comment on individual episodes of the podcast.
Right.
Which is great.
Do it.
Yeah.
For the love of God, people.
And then there is something that we do want to do a quick little shout out about, which is we've been on Stitcher for quite a while. We're on iTunes and on Stitcher. And on iTunes, we've just got gobs and gobs and gobs of reviews. And on Stitcher, we have just a few. And so those of you who are listening to us through Stitcher, we would just like to ask if you could please just take a moment of your time
and
leave a nice little review.
Of some kind. I think you've made a mistake, Frank. What I would like to say is that everyone who listens to us on any platform, please leave a review.
Yeah,
it helps keep us sort of. It affects where we show up in the lineup of things. It's very important that we continue to get reviews also on iTunes, but we definitely need you Stitcher listeners to help us out. And if you listen on iTunes, but you're feeling like helping out Frank and Dan, and you've already left one on iTunes, sign up for Stitcher and leave a review there too.
Why not?
Because we don't mind cheating. That's fine.
Sure, we'll have more reviews than we do listeners. All right. Well, I'm gonna play a little audio here for our break.
Yeah.
This is Matthew Hagee.
Oh.
He's of that John Hagee evangelical empire thing, the 20,000 person churchy thing down in San Antonio.
The name itself sounds like an illness.
Hagee?
I've been feeling a little Hagee this week. You were a little Hagee.
I had some serious Hagees up in my sinuses.
Oh, that's a shame.
Actually,
I'm sorry about that.
Absolute mess up there. All right. Yeah, here we go.
Vicky asks, does Obamacare increase the risk of America supporting a one-world government? Vicky, Obamacare is the kind of legislation that causes people to depend more on the government than to take responsibility for themselves. And anytime individuals are willing to depend more on the government, they are preparing themselves for the kind of global dictatorship that is described in the end times. Now, I'm not saying that Obamacare takes us towards that. I'm saying that it is the kind of behavior that allows that. It is the kind of mental mindset and kind of thought process that enables someone to look at a leader in the future and say, certainly, you can give me a mark, and that mark will keep me in terms of trading and doing all the things that I want to do, buying and selling of goods and services, no problem. I'll do it because you're the government and you say I need it. So legislation like this that requires us as individuals to yield our personal responsibility to the government leads us on a path and in a direction that in the end will take us to what the Bible describes as a one-world government.
Ooh.
That sounds scary.
Obamacare.
I
didn't realize.
Leading us to it's not the thing that's causing the one world government.
No, but it's going to get us there much more. It's going to make it easier.
It's a conduit.
Oh.
It's a series of tubes.
That's why it's bad. That's why it's bad, Dan.
One world government.
Dan.
In the end times.
Mark of the beast.
In Revelations. I'm very scared. This is the problem, is that like a one world government, we're getting closer to that. We're nowhere near it right now.
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near it. But the world is shrinking quickly.
Yeah.
And eventually we will. I mean, we've got the UN that's sort of, it's not a governing body, but like all the countries that sign on to it, like
it's more of a finger waggling type of body.
It's a body that looks at all of the countries very sternly. I'm going to look at you quite sternly right now, Algeria.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at you very sternly.
We're going to get some Canadian peacekeepers.
And they will come in and talk to you. We don't want to have to do that, but if we have to, we will. Anyway, one world government.
Why is it so?
The thing
clearly is nowhere near. It's nothing that's even on the horizon.
No, and
it's like,
and there's nothing
how can
about
they be so upset about it.
And there's nothing about Obamacare that could possibly even relate to this topic. Like it couldn't.
Oh, I know.
It couldn't. I don't see how it. There's nothing in it. They're literally talking about an Obamacare that doesn't exist.
Well, see, Dan, it's a slippery slope. Okay, and Obamacare, it is clearly at the top of the slope.
Right.
But it's what gets you starting to slip and slide down.
And we know where those slopes end.
Do not.
We know where they end, Frank. Every slippery slope ends in a mule's vagina.
God,
it's
just foul when you say it that way.
That one was for you, Mackenzie. You're welcome. Okay, so some emails.
Wait a second.
Okay, what?
I was just thinking through the anatomy of a mule.
Don't do that. No, it ends in sex with animals. That's what all the slippery slopes
There
end
you
in.
go. All right.
Sex with animals. Hi, Frank and Dan. Johnny writes to us. Johnny, a libertarian atheist friend here in San Diego, California.
Fantastic.
I haven't eaten fast food this whole year and would totally be willing to go to a Burger King near me and pick up a Proud Whopper, he says.
All right.
There's a reference to the Burger King coming out with the gay flag wrapped
the gay burger.
Whoppers.
That was a gay burger.
He says, as well as a Second Amendment Whopper if only they had one, because you remember there was a tweet about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says,
that one's probably not happening as soon as
no,
this is the Proud Whopper.
I think the gun ownership Whopper is probably not going to be.
Isn't that most Whoppers?
Most Whoppers are. I think the default Whopper is a Second Amendment Whopper. If
you already have your Whopper.
If the guys that I see holding guns in any photos or out at gun ranges are anything to judge it by, they've had a Whopper or two. They're familiar with Burger King. Just going to say that. He said he loved that segment, especially the Twitter comments. I started choking on my smoke from laughing at all of them. And he said, I haven't dropped all my bad health habits yet. Loved the story. Good on Burger King for showing their support for the LGBT community by doing this.
Absolutely.
Maybe they can have a combo order with a Proud Whopper, a Second Amendment soda, and freedom fries. An all-American meal. Keep up the good work, and hope you had a fun and safe Independence Day weekend, Johnny.
Goodness.
Thanks, Johnny.
And well done with staying off the fast food.
Well, I guess.
That's a good one. It's just junk.
It's not just junk.
It's just junk.
Even if you order a Whopper, you still get like some slices of tomato and lettuce and onion. Mm-hmm. That's just junk to you? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You heard
do you know what they do to get that lettuce and tomato? Do you know, Dan?
Pay farmers?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
That's all it is. It's just lettuce and tomatoes.
No, Dan. No. No.
Anyway, this is from Moses, who wrote. Is that? I didn't get the name onto the thing. I transfer all of these things onto a different thing, and then
a little peek behind the curtain there.
It's Moses, who wrote. Love the show. I know neither one of you have children yet, but this is a child question for your opinion. Yeah, we're probably going to remain childless. I mean, you have puppy children and birdie and birdie children.
I know. Oh, that little Milo kills me.
You guys had literally no pets, or you had one pet.
We had one,
and then it was all of the pets.
Well, we didn't get fish or rabbits or cats
yet.
No,
you might have a cat and you don't know. There might be a cat running around.
Brent would keep a cat. He would. He wants a cat. But I can tell you right now, not with the birds, and I think not with Milo. Milo would not. I don't think he would do very well.
You're critters. You got
Milo's
some high-strung
Tornado. You're talking about Tornado with the high-strung. He's getting better all the time.
Have you gone to your door and heard Milo? Because he's pretty high-strung too.
Well, that's only when doorbells ring. That's only, or when the mailman approaches, or the UPS man approaches, or there's a suspicious-looking child out on the street.
Or anything. There's a human around that isn't you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so Moses wrote in. He said, he talked a little bit about a wife-swapping television show that he saw Penn Jillette on, and somehow she tried to celebrate Jewish Shabbat with the kids, and Penn apparently wasn't overly respectful about the whole thing.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. He says, I know that it was his house, and being rude and confrontational on TV helps draw up the drama, but still.
That's the whole point. That's the commercial right there.
He says, I have a 14-year-old daughter. I am totally atheist. Her mother recently, within the last 2 years, joined a Mormon church, and I kind of blame myself. He apparently sent her a Book of Mormon as a joke sort of thing, and then anyway. Yeah.
Boy, that's a lesson.
He says, but my daughter now follows her mother's beliefs. I respect the kid's choices when she is here. I allow her to attend church with her friends, and I don't say too much about her time with her mother, except, he says, except why take baptisms for dead people who you don't know and stuff like that. But I feel knowing and being aware of differences are good things, and sheltering your kids away from religion and ignoring it totally, not so much. I don't know. It just feels like putting your head in the sand in a way. So we'd like our opinion about that. I think you're right. I mean, I think the last thing you want to do is be perceived as poisoning your child against her mother's religion.
Right.
It's going to push her away from you.
Right.
The best thing you can do is respect your child enough to let her make her own decision. But do be sure that she knows your position.
Yeah.
There's nothing disrespectful about explaining why you believe the way you do, what brought you to those beliefs, I mean, not in relation to her beliefs at all. This doesn't have to be anything about Mormonism, but it's important that you make it clear that you're open to discussion with her if she has questions, and that she knows where you stand and why you stand there. Don't you think?
Yeah.
What do you do with your dogs?
Well, when Milo came home with the Jehovah's Witness pamphlet, I mean, clearly you can't get, confrontational or belittle,
Right.
Clearly.
Right.
And so what do you do actively is sort of the question.
Like I said, I think you just
There's lots of don't do's, but letting your opinion be known, okay.
And you know what? Let her know your moral code. Teach her real morals because religion,
they will stand up better.
Yeah.
In the real world.
So I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You know what? It's all about teaching them ethics and teaching them morals and teaching them to be good people. And if she chooses to continue to be a Mormon, at least hopefully, you've given her a good foundation to be a good person, and she'll respect you as your time goes on.
Well, and if all that sort of set this whole thing off was a book, I would be thinking of the next book you could send to this woman.
That's true. But as he points out, when you order the free Book of Mormon for someone, it comes delivered by hand by two young men.
Two salesmen.
Two very eager, wide-eyed salesmen. So there is that problem. So anyway, thanks, Moses, for writing in. Alina from Texas wrote, it was just a quick one. She said, "Yay, Frank mentioned Lilith in the recent episode. You should do an entire episode on on dogmatic recognized texts that were excluded from the Bible."
Oh.
No. Because we don't know anything about it.
What you heard of Lilith is what I know of Lilith.
Yeah. That's
the entire breadth of knowledge. Right there.
Exactly. I went, just because you wrote in, Alina, I went to the Wikipedia page for Lilith just to sort of try and look up a little bit more about what the hell that was, and just ended up being wildly confused.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole thing about, like it starts off with it being like Mesopotamian, she-devils.
Yeah.
Literally female demons.
Yeah.
In Mesopotamia.
And then there was Lilith Fair.
Right.
And then...
How can you know anything?
Yeah.
If you would like to provide us with materials, Alina, or if you would like to call into the show and
you could script it
and just quickly get, you've got
Frank says this, then Dan
sure,
this,
okay,
and then Frank says this, and then Dan says this god awful thing,
clever quip,
and then Frank disapproves of the god awful thing Dan said,
right. Any variant thereof, you send it into us. We trust you, Alina. We'll go with that. But until I can get, female demons and whatnot, night monsters. I pulled it back up. The Hebrew term Lilith or Lilith, translated as night creatures, night monster, night hag, or screech owl.
Dear God, screech owl?
Yeah. It first occurs in Isaiah 34:14. Anyway,
all those things mean the same thing?
It all
sounds one word means all those things?
I guess so. It's translated differently depending on who's translating it, I guess.
Interesting.
It's all very confusing, and I don't know what's happening. But I know that the Jews sort of, at one point, glommed on to someone that they called Lilith as Adam's first wife.
So wait a second. Adam's first wife?
Yeah, there's a whole thing, because there's a discrepancy in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 in terms of like how the creation happened. And Genesis 1 says that God created mankind, man and woman. And then Genesis 2 has the whole story about pulling the rib from Adam and creating Eve out of that. And so there's that discrepancy. There's multiple discrepancies between Genesis 1 and 2.
Huh.
But that was kind of one explanation of how that happened, was that the first description isn't of Eve, but rather of Lilith. Oh. And then she had to go.
Well, yeah.
That bitch
spoke her mind.
That bitch got to go.
Yeah. Couldn't be having that.
Mm-mm.
She's supposed to be subject to her husband.
Right. As anyone who's been through the Mormon temple knows. It's very clear.
The Mormon temple is also very clear as to which of those two versions they go along with.
Which is?
The
rib?
Oh, absolutely.
There's a rib thing?
Oh.
Here, let me just... I'm going to grab one of these ribs off you.
It's gruesome. It's a horrible scene in the movie. It's bloody. You hear the bone snapping. It's just... Oh.
Now you're just lying, Franklin.
No, I'm not.
You're making things up.
No, it's the Mormon temple. I can say anything.
No, you can't because it's on the YouTubes now. They can look it up.
That's true.
Do we have a voicemail?
Boring. We do indeed.
Hi, Frank and Dan. I just listened to a podcast where you guys were discussing the things that you believe, sometimes without evidence. And I just wanted to share with you that my family moved to the States from Eastern Europe, and my dad thought it was really interesting here that people believed that you would get a cold if you went outside without a jacket on. I remember visiting my dad, and this was in Poland. I remember him saying that Polish people have this belief that drinking cold things led to illness. And, in fact, he took his dog to a veterinarian in Poland, and the vet asked, when the dog wasn't feeling well, if the dog had been drinking too much cold water. Since then, I've explored some of those other things and these cultural kind of myths. And my favorite one by far that I've found is in Korea, people believe that sleeping with a fan on may kill you. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I'm familiar with a few of these.
Yeah, thank
having
you.
lived in Italy.
That's right. Thanks for the call.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you very much.
Do you want to just fill us in on some of the fun Italian things?
Well, my favorite, I mean, they do the cold water thing,
right?
Too.
All over Europe,
yeah.
People look at you like you're nutso if you want cold water.
And so, they believe that it'll just hit your stomach, and because it's so cold, all the blood in your body is like going to rush to your stomach.
Oh, they have physiological reasons for it now.
Oh,
I'm sure that's all new. Like modern medicine, they're like, how are we going to explain all of these myths?
So the blood rushes to your stomach, and it causes all these problems, and it can lead to death.
That sounds terrifying.
But my favorite is colpo d'aria, which is wind slap, or air, breeze, wind slap. Good enough. And so it's an Italian fear of wind. Okay.
It's terrifying.
They really do. Or breezes, or, they're very leery of fans.
Oh,
they don't really like, if you have a fan on, it better be like kind of blown away or not very high. This made for miserable times on the city buses in Rome.
Oh,
during the summer.
Oh, because it's not air conditioned.
They're not air conditioned, or at least they weren't back in the day. The windows, they could open,
right.
But because the real issue is when you're sweaty. That's the issue. You can't get chilled too quickly because it'll bring on,
it'll kill you.
It can lead to your death. You'll get sick. Is what will happen first. And if it's severe enough, you might die. But anyways, there'd be all these little old women, although completely backed up by everybody else.
Right.
It's not just the little old women that believe this.
Right.
But they would get up very, very, very upset if you tried to like open one of the windows so a breeze could come in. And if you succeeded, right, and they weren't getting any wind on you, they would have looked at you like you were nuts for sitting there with breeze blowing over your sweaty body. Which is how your body cools itself.
It's kind of the purpose of sweat.
It's the design of the whole thing.
Right.
But this is why, if you're in Italy, you'll see people with scarves on in the middle of summer.
Well, they have to protect themselves.
Or you'll see, like, the thing that I always thought was amazing, like people, when they're done with, like, a workout, they, like, get bundled up, right? And it's like, what the fuck? This is, like, the hottest it's blistering hot.
Right.
It's crazy humid. You're sweating like nuts.
Right.
And now you're going to put more clothing on.
That's nuts.
And so, colpo d'aria. That was always a good one.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Wind
those
slap.
are fun. I had to deal with that for 2 years.
There should be a band called Wind Slap.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like a metal fusion band.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, there you go. Life is wacky sometimes.
Indeed,
and
it is.
We believe some crazy things. You know what some people believe, Frank?
What's that?
That Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormon Church, translated some Egyptian papyruses, papyri, into. Don't yawn on the
I'm
show.
sorry, but you were boring me, Dan. Already, I was bored.
Anyway, Joseph Smith translated some papyri into scripture, into an account of. It turns out that these papyri were an account of what's his name? Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I went through like 5 different A names before I could get to it. An account of Abraham's life, written in his own hand.
Amazing.
In Egyptian.
Wait a second.
In hieroglyphics.
I'm confused about it. I didn't realize that Abraham was Egyptian.
That's because you don't know as much as Joseph Smith knows.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, tell me more.
Well, the church has now there have been some problems over the years with these. This is now called the Book of Abraham, and it is in what the Mormons call the Pearl of Great Price, which is a scripture that they have that is in their canon of scripture.
Yes.
And the papyri in question, some of them were found. They thought that they were all lost.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them were found. And then, in Joseph Smith's time, Egyptologists hadn't really worked out what all of the symbols mean and everything. Well, they kind of have now. And
how do they know? How do they know? They can't know, Dan.
Oh, but they do. And it turns out that what he had were just sort of standard funerary documents.
Oh.
And not less. I'm just going to say this. They were less Abraham writing in his own hand and more just standard funerary documents that accompanied mummies that were from the same a traveling mummy sale exhibit that went through the U.S. In the 1830s, 1840s, or something like that.
1840s, yeah.
And then the Mormons bought a few of the papyri, and that's how this came to be.
Wow. It makes, I can see why they would believe it.
It makes sense 100%.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't. Yeah.
So what's the problem? What happened?
Well, that the Mormon Church has recently been dropping some serious documents on their webpage. On that
clearing things up.
LDS.org.
They know there's confusion about certain topics. They want to come out and state clearly what the church's position is.
So the big ones have been about the church and racism in the past, and what was one of the other ones?
Oh, who cares?
Oh, the or the DNA evidence.
Oh, that's right.
That works against them for all of the Native Americans being.
But it doesn't work all the way against them.
And that's what their essay was about.
Yeah.
This one is about the Book of Abraham and the translation thereof. And they've come up with a pretty clever little workaround here.
Oh.
Because we know that Joseph Smith did not, at least the documents that we have, the papyruses that we have, were not translated into anything that is in the Pearl of Great Price.
Right. Because it's all stuff about Osiris
and yeah. Exactly. And ISIS
and resurrection and crap, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
how did this Book of Abraham come to be? Well, Joseph Smith,
he was a gifted man.
He never
he had gifts from God.
He never claimed to know Egyptian.
No. In fact, they point that out.
Right.
He didn't claim to know any language
other than English.
Well, the sentence says that he didn't claim to know any language, which I thought was a pretty remarkable sentence, actually. But no, he made no claims.
No.
He didn't say that. So what he did was he had these papyruses, and they inspired him He was able to sort of contemplate and receive revelation
right
while looking at the papyrus.
God looked at Joseph Smith while he was looking at these papyruses and said, "Hey, I'm going to dictate some stuff to you. Let's just pretend it came from those papers, okay?"
Yeah.
And Joseph Smith was like, okay, we'll just go with that then.
But Joseph Smith wasn't really clear on this whole pretending
no,
and shit. Like
he
didn't know that God was like giving it to him from some other source.
God was just tricking.
It was just
I'm just tricking.
You know what? We're never going to get you this book of Abraham thing. It's just never going to work out.
Well, because Abraham never made it.
These.
Unlike the authors of the Book of Mormon, Abraham never made it to the New World.
Right. Terribly inconvenient.
Right.
If you're to be given, if Joseph Smith is supposed to find something that you wrote.
What's he supposed to do? Travel all the way to the Holy Land and do excavation after excavation until until an angel tells him where to look for the golden plates of Jerusalem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
But he should have.
He should have.
But he didn't. And
so God gave him these papyri and said, just write down what I say, and we'll just pretend that it came out from these.
And this is more or less their official stance now.
Yeah,
we're making light of it.
They do claim that. Yeah, we're trying to make it more outrageous than it already is, but we're not really succeeding because it's already such a stupid concept that we don't have to embellish really at all. Because literally, the church is now saying, God just told him to write some stuff down.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was it. Now, they are saying that what they've done is they've left it open for each individual member to decide how they want to believe that it came about. Because they did lose most of the papyri that these came from.
So who knows what was on those other papyri?
The other ones could have had all of the stuff.
Those were the ones.
Those were the ones, and then the ones that we have now just happened to be the side thing.
Dan, this is how the Lord works. Because if they'd still been around, these modern day Egyptologists who'd figured out the whole thing, who figured out how to read hieroglyphics and whatnot, they would read it and they would know that Joseph Smith had translated it. And so it would be proof that Joseph Smith was a prophet.
Right. And we can't have proof of that.
You can't have proof. It always has to remain
somewhat mysterious.
A mystery. It has to be an issue of faith. I guarantee you, that line right there is going to make its way into a gospel doctrine lesson.
Some lesson somewhere. Some
Absolutely.
Class. Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty wacky stuff. The Book of Abraham itself is the story of Abraham in Egypt. There's a whole thing about how Abraham himself, and this is ironic considering this later story in the Bible about Abraham and his son, but there's a story about Abraham himself almost being sacrificed by pagan priests.
Oh my God.
And then making it out.
Is that ironic?
Well, Abraham was the one that almost sacrificed his own son.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's kind of ironic.
Wow.
That he would condemn these pagan priests for doing basically what he ends up doing later.
Oh. But see, God was telling him to do it.
Right.
And they were pagan priests.
Yeah.
Pagan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow. Bad.
Yeah.
Pagan equals bad.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was clear. I'm sorry. I thought that was obvious. If you want to, you can go online and find the images of the papyri that are existent. They're pretty silly. They're nothing to do with the Book of Mormon.
Well, here I found this on Wikipedia.
Okay,
always a great source of everything. Wikipedia, and they had this wonderful little table that they'd set up. That they have one of the facsimiles of one of the papyruses.
Yeah.
And they've sort of put numbers next to certain objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph Smith's explanation for each of those spots.
Oh, right.
Okay, so number 1 is next to this bird.
Kind of an eagle floating in the air.
Eagle-ish looking thing. And it says that Joseph Smith said that it's the angel of the Lord. Well, the explanation by non-Mormon and Mormon Egyptologists say that it's the soul of Osiris. Huh, interesting. Right. And then you have, like you were talking about, Abraham fastened upon the altar. That's what Joseph Smith said it was. No, it's Osiris coming to life on his couch, which is in the shape of a lion.
Oh,
it's a couch.
I need a lion couch.
Yeah, no kidding.
I kind of want
that one. That's an attractive.
It's pretty nice.
And then there's let's see, what's a good one.
Well, so Joseph, and then there's a guy that looks like he's holding a knife over this guy on the couch, and Joseph Smith called that the idolatrous priest of Elkanah attempting to offer up Abraham as a sacrifice. And the explanation from the Egyptologists is that it's the god Anubis effecting the resurrection of Osiris.
And it's interesting. It says it's Anubis who should have a jackal's head. Because if you actually look at there's a side-by-side. So the facsimile has sort of the Mormon filling in.
Whoever drew the facsimile.
Whoever
was copying it.
Sort of filled in the blanks because there were missing pieces. This is an old papyrus.
Right.
There's chunks missing from it. And so they sketched in just this guy with a head. Well, it says that Anubis should have a jackal's head.
Right.
And this is also the soul of Osiris, which should have a human head.
Right.
That bird thing.
The bird
also that was missing.
Yeah.
The head was missing.
So anyway, Joe Smith may not have been exactly right with these things, but apparently the Mormon Church thinks.
But you can find these papyri or the facsimiles in the Pearl of Great Price.
That's right. They are there.
I used to love looking at them because they were just so weird.
Yeah, they're cool looking.
What the hell? What is this?
It's all very cool looking.
Unlike any of the other pictures in all of the Mormon canon.
Yes, exactly. It's pretty funny stuff. So it's gotten to the point now, Frank, where I feel like the LDS Church is explaining so much that they're becoming the best source to go to when you want to convince someone that it's not true. They're getting to the point where they're over-explaining. Where the explanation is as damning as the thing they're explaining.
Well,
at this point.
What's coming up next? What do you think's next, Dan? What's something that is in dire need of explanation? That they're going to come out with something that's just kind of baffling about,
the next essay that they publish will be called Polygamy. Just kidding. We were just kidding about that.
Oh.
That was a joke. Do you guys think we're serious about that? That was a kidding.
That's a hard one for them to get over.
They can't.
Or get around.
They can't get around
because the Doctrine and Covenants talks about that shit.
Yeah.
What do they do?
They got nothing.
They got it.
They have to own it.
They have to own it.
But they'll
always have their dumb explanation of it.
Well, they'll need to write something about why, for instance, Wilford Woodruff, who was the president of the church in the whenever that was in the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. I'm not sure.
1890s,
somewhere in that region, and he was the one who, when he started his presidency of the church, his prophetness, his prophetdom, he said, "We will never give up this thing,
right?"
Which is polygamy.
And then he's
the one
issued
that
the manifesto.
Issues the manifesto that said, "We give it up. Don't worry, everybody. We are not doing it anymore."
Yeah, but to be fair, he kept doing it.
He kept doing it. Oh, sure.
So
yeah.
he was.
Oh, it still happened.
So all he did was just flat out. The first one wasn't a lie. The second one was a lie.
It was.
So that's fine.
It was all just.
It was a lie to protect the thing that he was still doing. But you talk to modern Mormons, and they don't look. No, they stopped after that.
I wonder if there will be an essay on post-manifesto polygamy, though.
That would be a really good topic for them to tackle. Actually, that's one that they need to tackle.
Anyway,
in the same sense that they needed to tackle this kind of stuff,
right?
That's an easy criticism because that's what they're doing. They're going for the easy criticisms.
Right. They're going for what they for what what their detractors are hitting them hard with.
Yeah.
And they're trying to
the low-hanging fruit of anti-Mormonism.
Trying to just bring it in. We own that. We own that. That's not really how we were. I mean, I guess that our prophet said that that's what we were like, but not really. So just chill out about all that stuff. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole series of articles should be titled something along the lines of, "Keep believing, everybody. It's okay. The internet was right about some things, but we have explanations."
I think very little of it is for their own believers.
Really?
I think that a lot of it is this, they're trying to clean up in case there's ever another major candidate for a major office, so that everything's kind of they're getting their house in order.
I hear that.
What I see them doing more than, because if they give this big explanation and then they go, but we leave it to our member, our faithful to decide for themselves. That's not really for the believers.
No, I think that it is for the believers because because with the advent of the internet, so many people are actually going to the internet, and what used to be like in our day coming up, when there wasn't really any internet to speak of,
right?
We knew that at least I heard that there were anti-Mormon people out there writing
scary
anti-Mormon books, and they're just they're bad,
and your stomach would just get all queasy thinking about it,
and you'd get a dark feeling, and all of that sort, whatever the hell that means. Anyway,
the adversary.
It was easy to not read those books or to dismiss it as just anti-Mormon. This is just written by somebody who's against us.
These are people who hate us.
Right. And they're trying to make us look bad. But now there's just information out there that people can just read and go, wait, that can't be true. And then they can verify it.
Right.
And I think the church is like trying to keep a mass exodus from occurring as people start learning all the stuff that we didn't hear, that you don't hear when you're in church. I think all of it.
They can try.
I think all of it's true. And of course they're not going to succeed. They're going to just,
They're feeling the fire because they're going to get people, wait, what? Doing that whole thing.
Yeah, people are going to start asking questions. And
they do not want that.
No, they don't.
That is the last thing they want.
Yeah. Ugh. But I mean, the reason they're doing this is clearly because the questions are being asked. It's too late. The questions are out there. It's like the Matrix.
All right.
Well, if you guys have anything to add to this stunning conversation, please don't hesitate.
It's fantastic.
It's been great.
So enjoyed it.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
I've really enjoyed it. I've learned so much, Dan.
But we'd love to hear from you guys. You know what I'm going to suggest first?
What's that?
A voicemail. Do a voicemail. 424. This is the number. This is the number that you call. 424-666-8442.
Yeah.
Let us hear from you.
It's a call. Just call us.
It's a phone call.
It's a phone call. Get on your cell phone. You don't pay the long distance with the cell phone.
I mean, you do if you're out of the country, but call us. Just give us a...
If you're out of the country, send us an email.
Sure. How do they do that?
They can, the email address is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Right. Or you can go onto the Facebook page and send something to that, or just read what's on there, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
There's, of course, the Twitter feed @TGIAtheist as well.
Yeah.
And there's the website, thankgodimatheist.com.
Which, by the way...
It's like a whole thing. We've got a whole...
We're building.
There's tons of things.
We're creating an empire.
So many things.
If you want to contribute to that empire, you can go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab.
Absolutely.
And we will be... Oh, I didn't thank our supporters.
Hey, we have new supporters, Dan.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad I said that, because I would hate myself if I forgot that. So, our new donors, I would like to thank officially Daniel, who is great, and Jeremy.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you both. They're both now monthly subscribers, and we couldn't be more tickled when you guys choose to help us out. We're on the road to getting stuff done here.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
All right. Thank you to Mackenzie for all your Facebook help.
Yes, indeed, and thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for their music, and thanks to you, kind listener, for joining us on today's adventure.
Bye-bye.